Today let us see NEET 2020 Biology Paper Explanation Part 2 related to G5 code. Question number 16. Which one of the following is the most abundant protein in the animals? Collagen, lectin, insulin, hemoglobin. All these are different types of proteins. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the animals. Rubisco, ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase is an enzyme or a protein which is most abundant in the whole biosphere. Lectin, it is a secondary metabolite. This question was sliced right from 2019 paper. Insulin, it is a hormone which is also a polypeptide associated with A peptide and B peptide chains which are linked by disulfide bonds. Hemoglobin, it is an example for quaternary structure of a protein. It is an important respiratory pigment which is involved in the transport of respiratory gases, especially oxygen. Last year we got a question related to Ramachandran plot. G.N. Ramachandran is an outstanding personality in the field of protein structure and the founder of Madras School for Conformation Analysis of Biopolymers. He discovered the triple helical structure of collagen protein. This protein is associated with glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline amino acids. His analysis allowed him the conformation of proteins through the Ramachandran plot. He met Linus Pauling and was deeply influenced by his publications on the model of alpha helix and beta sheet structures that directed him to pay attention to solve the structure of collagen protein. G.N. Ramachandran is an outstanding personality in the field of protein structure and was founder of Madras School of Conformational Analysis of Biopolymers. Now let us see NEET 2020 Biology Paper Explanation Part 2 of G5 code. Which one of the following is the most abundant protein in the animals? Collagen, lectin, insulin, hemoglobin. All these are different types of proteins. Collagen, it is the most abundant protein in the animals, which is present in cartilage, bones, tendons and ligaments, etc. With respect to whole biosphere, Rubisco, ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase is an enzyme. It's the most abundant protein. Lectin, it is a secondary metabolite. Last year we got a question related to conconavalin. Insulin, it's a hormone which is associated with two polypeptide chains A and B chains which are linked by disulfide bonds. Hemoglobin, it is an example for quaternary structure. It is an important respiratory pigment which is responsible for transport of respiratory gases, especially oxygen. This question, collagen, it is linked with the last year question Ramachandran plot. G.N. Ramachandran, he is an outstanding personality with respect to the field of protein structure. He was the founder of Madras School of Conformational Analysis of Biopolymers. He discovered the triple helical structure of a collagen protein, which is associated with amino acids glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. His analysis allowed the conformation of proteins through the use of Ramachandran plot. So this Ramachandran plot we got last year. He met Linus Pauling and was deeply influenced by his publications on the models related to alpha helix and beta sheet structures. and directed his attention to solve the structure of collagen protein. And it is the table related to secondary metabolites. Metabolites are categorized into two types, primary and secondary metabolites. Primary metabolites, they have defined function. The secondary metabolites function is not clearly known. They are produced by different types of plants. Some of the metabolites, some of the secondary metabolites, they gain economic importance. This year, we got two questions related to these secondary metabolites. One in the form of match the following, and another one, the option related to this question. So where pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, alkaloids, morphine, codeine and nicotine, terpenoids, monotrienes and diterpenes, essential oils, lemongrass oil, toxins, abrin and resin, lectin, conconovalin, drugs, vinblastine, vincristine, curcumin, polymeric substances like rubber, gums and cellulose. If we come to the structure of hemoglobin, it's a quaternary structure and consists of 4 subunits. 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains are present. Alpha polypeptide chain is associated with 141 amino acids, beta chain with 146 amino acids. Totally 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains are present in adult hemoglobin. In case of fetal hemoglobin, 2 alpha chains and 2 gamma chains are present. Question number 17. How many true breeding pea plant varieties did Mendel select as pairs, which were similar except in one character with contrasting traits? Mendel is a scientist. He conducted his experiments on plant Pisum sativum right from 1856 to 1863. He has selected 7 characters in case of Pisum sativum and which are having contrasting characters. And all the plants which he has selected are pure line in nature and they are true breeding. The true breeding plants are developed by repeated self-pollination practices. Let us see the answer related to this. How many true breeding pea plants? So here with respect to this 14 true breeding pea plants. These are 7 characters and these are contrasting characters related to each character. Sheep, seed shape, round and wrinkled. Seed color, yellow and green. Flower color, violet and white. Pod, full and constricted. Pod color, green and yellow. Flower position, axial and terminal. Stem height, tall and dwarf. With respect to this, in general, students used to do mistake with respect to pod color. Seed color, yellow and green. Yellow is dominant, green is recessive. So here pod color, green is dominant and yellow is recessive. A true breeding line is one that having undergone continuous self-pollinations, show the stable trait of inheritance and expression for several generations. Mendel, he conducted his experiments right from 1856 to 1863. So this question appeared in 2017. So these are the characters and these are contrasting characters. In the diagram they have given pod shape as full, whereas here in the table they have given pod shape as inflated. Question number 18. The body of ovule is fused with the funicle at micropyle, mucellus, salazar, hilum. The ovule is also known as megasporangium. It is present inside the ovary. Ovule is attached to the placenta of ovary through a small stalk-like structure known as funicle. The junction of this funicle and ovule is known as a hilum. Ovule is associated with the mass of cells known as mucellus. This nucellus is surrounded by two integuments, outer integument and inner integument. But these two integuments are not fused at one end and leave a small opening which is known as micropyle. This end of the ovule is known as micropylar pole. Opposite to this micropylar pole, chalazal pole is present. Based on the number of integuments, it may be unitegument as in the case of higher dicots. It may be bitegument present in case of lower dicots and also in case of monocotyledons. Tritegminic in case of asphodylus. Ategmic in case of xanthellum. The answer for this question is hilum, where the ovule is fused with the funicle with that of hilum. Last year we got a question related to nucellus. This is a question picked from the options of the last year questions. So here let us see these are different types of ovules. Based on the arrangement of the plane of micropyle, chalaza and funicle, different types of ovules are present. They are anatropous ovule, where it is inverted to 180 degrees. Amphitropous ovule, where the body of ovule as well as embryo sac are curved. In case of hemianatropous, half inverted, that is to 90 degrees. In case of campylotropous, the body is curved, whereas the embryo sac is not curved. With respect to carcinotropous type of ovule, funiculus is coiled around the ovule. So this is the structure of ovule. Ovule in case of angiosperms is known as megasporangium. We got a question right from this in 2016. Each ovule has one or two protective envelopes called integuments. Opposite to the micropylar end is the chalazal end, represent the basal part of the ovule. Question number 19. Which one of the following is correct about virions? Same question appeared in 2017 related to virions with the same type of options. And this is also question picked right from options of the 2019 Odisha paper, especially mad cow disease question. Let us see the options. They have free RNA protein coat. They have DNA with protein coat. They have free DNA without protein coat. They have RNA with protein coat. So answer for this is they have free RNA without protein coat. Virions of the structure where T.O. Diner discovered a new infectious organism which is smaller than the virus, which is not associated with a protein coat, which are having free RNA. The RNA of virion was a low molecular weight. In the upcoming years, they may give the statements related to viruses, or they may give the statements related to virions, or they may mix the statements related to these both, and they will ask you to pick out the characters related to either virus or virions. So viruses, these are obligate and intracellular parasites composed of nucleocapsid. Whereas in case of virions, protein coat is absent and the size is very small, and these are smaller than the viruses. Nucleic acid may be RNA or DNA, whereas here it is always associated with RNA molecule. That was single stranded RNA molecule is the genetic material seen in these organisms. Protein capsid is present in case of viruses, whereas in case of virions, that capsid or components of protein is not observed. So different types of diseases are caused by various types of viruses. We know pretty well. Smallpox, herpes, measles, rabies, all these are different examples. Whereas these virions, they cause disease with respect to the plants. So potato spindle tuber, Citrus exocortis, avocado sunblotch, these are some examples. These are some diseases caused by viruses in case of plants. And we can also find the characters related to the prions. So we know very well about the characters of viruses. So prions, these are the infectious protein particles similar to virus but lacking the nucleic acid. So it is not considered as a living being. Prions are nothing but abnormally folded proteins and they cause several neurodegenerative diseases. Question number 20. The number of substrate level phosphorylations in one turn of citric acid cycle. Question number 20. The number of substrate level phosphorylations in one turn of citric acid cycle is. Phosphorylation enzyme catalyzed biochemical reaction that is involved in the addition of phosphate group to an organic molecule. Kinases are the enzymes responsible for phosphorylation. Different types of phosphorylations are present. Photophosphorylation that occurs in the thylakoid membrane, which is involved in the liberation of ATP. It may be either photosystem 1 or photosystem 2. Oxidative phosphorylation. It occurs in inner mitochondrial membrane. F1 particles plays an important role in the synthesis of ATP. Another one is, in case of substrate level phosphorylation, synthesis of ATP takes place due to the transfer of phosphate from substrate to ADP. In oxidation of one molecule of glucose, substrate level phosphorylations occur during glycolysis and also Krebs cycle. Where substrate level phosphorylation during glycolysis, it occurs where 1,3-biphosphoglycerate is converted into 3-phosphoglycerate, during which ADP is converted into ATP. And in the next step, phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into pyruvate in the presence of pyruvate kinase, during which a molecule of ATP is synthesized. With respect to citric acid cycle is associated with different types of substrates, right, from which one substrate is converted into another substrate molecule. The steps associated with citric acid cycle are citrate synthetase, cis-aconitase isocitrate, alpha-ketoglutarate, succinyl-CoA, succinic acid, fumarate, malate, and oxaloacetate, and finally again reaches to acetyl-CoA. So here in this cycle, with respect to a specific step, so here succinyl-CoA is converted into succinate by succinate thiokinase enzyme activity. Here let us assume that this is an enzyme which is known as succinate thiokinase, and here is the substrate known as succinyl-CoA. Right from this, a phosphate group is released and it is coupled with GDP and leads to formation of GTP. Immediately, right from GTP, the phosphate group is transferred to ADP and finally synthesis of ATP takes place. Here, with respect to one citric acid cycle, one ATP is synthesized. Here, with respect to this substrate level phosphorylation, succinyl-CoA is the donor of phosphate group and is involved in the synthesis of ATP. So for one cycle, one ATP is released. We can also frame few questions related to this. Oxidation of one glucose molecule, it yields 6 ATP molecules as a result of substrate level phosphate, and 2 molecules are liberated due to Krebs cycle. Net gain of ATP molecules as a result of substrate level phosphorylation means the answer will be 4. Question number 21. The products of reaction catalyzed by nitrogenase in root nodules of leguminous plant is R. Nitrogen is an essential element for the organisms to survive. In the atmosphere, maximum percentage of nitrogen is present. It cannot be utilized by the organisms directly. Though maximum percentage of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, it cannot be utilized by the plants and subsequent trophic level organisms. It is mainly due to nitrogen should convert into a stable compound known as ammonia. That can be done by the microorganisms, especially bacteria. The atmospheric nitrogen, it exists in the form of nitrogen molecule which is associated with a triple bond. It's a covalent bond. And this atmospheric nitrogen cannot be utilized by the plants directly. So fixation of nitrogen should occur. The fixation of nitrogen takes place only through the microorganisms, especially bacteria, due to the presence of a particular type of enzyme known as nitrogenase. Biological nitrogen fixation occurs where the organisms which are involved in the fixing of nitrogen, fixation are known as nitrogen fixers. They may be free living or symbiotic forms. The free living forms may be aerobic forms and anaerobic forms. Free living aerobic organisms are Azotobacter, Basidium, Nostoc, and Abina, whereas anaerobic organism is Rhodospirillum. There are certain symbiotic organisms which are present in the root nodules of the Leguminaceae family. And those organisms, example for those organisms, it is Rhizobium. Rhizobium bacteria is present in the root nodules of the Leguminaceae plants. And this bacteria, it fixes atmospheric nitrogen. Free living or symbiotic of bacteria, they are associated with nitrogenase enzyme. Nitrogenase enzyme is involved in the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen in a stepwise manner. Nitrogenase enzyme is involved in the fixation of nitrogen, where the nitrogen undergo the process of reduction. In a stepwise manner, the final product that is produced is ammonia or hydrogen. Right from one nitrogen molecule, two molecules of ammonia are synthesized. The energy which is required for the fixation of nitrogen molecule to ammonia, 16 ATP molecules are required for the fixation of a molecule of nitrogen. 16 ATP molecules are required for the fixation of a molecule of nitrogen. And then which leads to synthesis of two molecules of ammonia from a molecule of nitrogen. 16 ATP molecules are required. Of ATP molecules that are required for the synthesis of one ammonia, then the answer is 8 ATP molecules. The enzyme nitrogenase is highly sensitive to molecular oxygen. It always requires anaerobic conditions. Like hemoglobin, it is an oxygen scavenger during the process of nitrogen fixation. These microbes are aerobes under free living conditions. During nitrogen fixation events, these microbes live as aerobes during free living conditions. During nitrogen fixation events, they become anaerobic, thus protecting the nitrogenase enzyme. Question number 22. Match the following diseases with causative organism and select the correct option. Column 1 and column 2. These are different types of diseases and these are causative organisms. Typhoid. Causative organism is Salmonella typhimurium. Pneumonia. A causative organism is Haemophilus influenzae or Streptococcus pneumoniae. Filariasis. Causative organism is Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malayi. Malaria. Causative organism is Plasmodium. Different species of Plasmodium are there. Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium voveli, and Plasmodium malariae. So for this, the answer is option number 1. If we come to the concept related to this, we may get extension of these questions next year. Typhoid. The causative organism is Salmonella typhimurium, and high sustained fever is associated with respect to 39 to 40 degrees centigrade. Weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite are the common symptoms of this disease. Intestinal perforations are associated, and it may also cause death in severe cases. Typhoid fever can be confirmed by viral test. This question appeared in 2019. Streptococcus pneumoniae is an organism which causes pneumonia. With respect to in case of a person who is suffering from pneumonia, the alveoli are filled with the tissue fluid where gaseous exchange is impaired. Consequently, available oxygen supply to the organs and also diffusion of carbon dioxide right from the body to consequently available oxygen is decreased. As impairment with respect to the carbon dioxide is associated, impairment with respect to the gaseous exchange of carbon dioxide is associated, the levels of carbon dioxide it increases in the body. As a result, it leads to change in the color of the lips and nails to blue color. Malaria. Causative organism is Plasmodium. Different species of Plasmodium are responsible for malaria, of which Plasmodium vivax it causes benign tertian malaria. Plasmodium vivax it causes mild tertian malaria. Plasmodium malariae it causes quartan malaria. Plasmodium falciparum it causes malignant tertian malaria, which is fatal to the organisms. Filaria. The causative organism for filariasis is Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malayi. The adults are present in the lymphatic circulation, where the larval stages are present in the bloodstream. Because of presence of this adult stages, inflammation in the lymph vessels is observed. It is known as lymphangitis. Pathogens are transferred from a healthy person to a normal individual through female mosquitoes. Question number 23. From his experiments, S.L. Miller produced amino acids by mixing of the following in the closed flask. So he conducted simulation experiments. The chemical origin of life, which was proposed by Oparin and Haldane, it was practically proved by Urey and Miller. They have set an apparatus like this, and it is a closed form. Taken the mixture of different types of gases, methane, ammonia, and hydrogen, with respect to the ratio of 2:1:2. And this flask was connected to a boiling water flask. The vapor which is coming right from this boiling water flask is simulation to the vapor in the primeval atmosphere. And they fixed the electrodes, which are simulation for lightning, and the condensation process that has taken place in the atmosphere, and they have connected this glass flask to the condenser where the condensation process should occur. And then here is a trap which is equal to the hot dilute soup or prebiotic soup. So in this flask, they have taken the mixture of different gases. The first option is wrong. Why? Means they have given ammonia. So most of the students, without reading this, without focusing on this, they went for first option. So whereas this option 4 is correct. After conducting this experiment for weekdays, They obtain glycine, alanine and aspartic acid in this trap. If they use, later they have used HCl and obtained nitrogenous bases too. It is a line directly taken right from NCERT. Number 21. Which of the following statements is correct? This is a question related to nucleic acids, especially related to DNA. Deoxyribose nucleic acid is the genetic material in case of higher group organisms. DNA is associated with the nitrogenous bases, deoxyribose sugar, and phosphate backbone. Nitrogenous bases are categorized into purines and pyrimidines. Purine, adenine, and guanine falls under purine category. Cytosine and thymine falls under pyrimidine category. The nitrogenous base is attached to the deoxyribose sugar at the first position of the deoxyribose sugar. Nitrogenous bases are attached, and the bond which is present between the nitrogenous base and ribose sugar, it is a glycosidic bond. The fifth carbon atom of the deoxyribose sugar, phosphoric acid, is attached. A phosphodiester bond is formed between two successive nucleotides. The nitrogenous base of one strand makes a bond with the nitrogenous base of another strand. Between thymine and adenine, two hydrogen bonds are formed. Between guanine and cytosine, three hydrogen bonds are formed. Here the question is related to adenine pairs with thymine through one hydrogen bond. Adenine pairs with thymine through three hydrogen bonds. It's a wrong statement. Adenine does not pair with thymine. It's also a wrong statement. Adenine pairs with thymine through two hydrogen bonds. It's a correct statement. There are two hydrogen bonds between adenine and thymine, three hydrogen bonds between guanine and cytosine. A nucleoside is with a glycosidic bond, whereas a nucleotide is with a phosphodiester. So successive nucleotides are connected through ester bonds. The two phosphodiester bonds are present. Each strand appears like helical staircase. At each step of ascent, the strand turns 36 degrees. One full turn of helical strand would involve 10 steps or 10 base pairs. The pitch would be 34 angstroms. The race between base pair is 3.4 angstroms. All these are related to bDNA structure. So here is a problem which we got in 2015. In sea urchin DNA, which is double-stranded, 70% of bases were shown to be cytosine. The percentage of other three base pairs expected would be, so here a cytosine bases are 17%, the guanine also it will come 17%. So put together we get 34%, of which remaining one is 66%, where we can calculate the percentage of adenine and thymine. So 17% of guanine, 33% of adenine and 33% of thymine. Here is another possible question which we can expect. Calculate the percentage of cytosine in a double helical DNA molecule with the length of 306 angstroms having 54 adenine units. The length of the DNA is 306 angstroms. The coils are, so we have to calculate the coils totally, 9 coils. Total number of nucleotides in a coil, 10 base pairs are present. So here 20 per coil, so totally 180. 9 coils are there, totally 180. The percentage of adenine, 30. Then guanine and cytosine will be 40%. The cytosine is 20%. Length of the DNA is 306 angstroms. And the number of coils we have to calculate, that should be divided with 34. We will get 9 coils totally. And each coil is associated with 20 nucleotides. So with respect to these 9 coils, totally 180 nucleotides are present. The percentage of adenine is 54 into 100 by 180 will get 30%. Adenine percentage is equal to thymine, that is equal to 30. And leftover percentage is 40 with respect to related to guanine and cytosine. So here cytosine percentage is 20%.
If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to Neeraja's Biology Academy. Don't forget to click the bell icon for subsequent updates. Thank you.